Welcome back to the final whistle for the second video of the day. We are joined here by Harry Kilner. How are you doing today, mate?
I'm doing good, mate. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, especially after what happened in the National League last night, which we will talk about. Of course, you were at Bichet last night
I was, yeah.
for Rochdale versus Halifax. Definitely not York. How was the game in your opinion? Was it like typical Rochdale, or is the wheels now
Mm.
slowly falling off for the Rochdale?
Well, last night, Rochdale had a brilliant start to the game, scoring quite early on in the first 10 minutes. They dominated the game quite a lot, and after they scored that first goal, they had that constant pressure. They had one where it went across the face of goal, where it could have been tapped in. They had another chance after that. It took Halifax quite a long time to get into the game. In the first half, they had quite a few tame shots. They had a few shots like away from goal that just went miles wide, and it was like, why do you even shoot from that angle? But yeah, that's the first half.
So it was all Rochdale for the first half. Were you
Yeah,
surprised to go into the break Rochdale only 1-0 up? Do you think it could have been or should have been more?
I was talking to some Rochdale fans at half time, and they were saying we should be at like 4-0 up at least. We've had so many chances on goal, and yes, Halifax had a few shots on target, but and had a little bit of pressure at the start, but you could tell they weren't up to standard. But in the second half, they really stepped up, and well, towards the end anyway.
Do you think a draw was a fair result for both teams? Do you think Halifax or Rochdale could have gone on and eventually won the game in the dying seconds?
It's a game of two halves, really. Well, Rochdale
Mm.
played well in the first half, played brilliantly throughout the second half. You could tell Halifax were playing into the game quite a lot, having more chances. And I even said to myself and my mate that Halifax going to get a goal here or even equalised. And yeah, it did happen. And well, Rochdale, when at the end, when they got that goal, I thought, game's done here. Like, they're 2-0 up, they're cruising, and it's done. But then Halifax pulled that out of the bag. I didn't even see that coming.
So yeah, you say it was a game of two halves. Do you think a draw was a fair result in the end?
I think in the end, yes, but I think Halifax did well to grab a point there because
Mm.
the thing is, they play well against big teams. I know, obviously,
It does.
they didn't play well against York on Saturday, but they must have learned from the mistakes and probably gone for it at the end. That grit, determination to battle out for a point and try and stay in the playoff places.
Yeah, because of course you got teams like Aldershot and like a couple of other teams as well, looking like they could potentially go into the playoff spots. So
Mhm.
for Halifax, a draw was definitely needed, would you say, or do you think other teams like Aldershot under John Coleman, who was one of the better managers in the National League, um, do you think that this game could be pivotal to both teams this season? Because of course, Rochdale and York still fighting for the National League title.
Yeah. Well, after last night, I feel like that's given Halifax the boost they need to really push on for these last 10 or so games. But with Rochdale, I really worry for them because they've played quite a few big games recently. They've dropped points in draws. I know they're unbeaten, but on Saturday they've got to play Aldershot, third best team in the league for form in the last 10 games. A brilliant manager. They're in good form at the moment, beating quite a lot of the big six teams this season. I can see them losing this game in hand and completely bottling the league. Like, no offense, but they are a good team. But both these teams can finish on 100 points or more. But yeah,
That's interesting you say that because everyone was saying, and I think you were as well, Sam, you were saying that if York won last night, the title would be in York's hands to lose. Do you think that is still the case? Because, of course, as you say, Aldershot are one of the strongest teams currently in the National League. They couldn't beat Rochdale, could they? Because that would probably give York the title if they beat Morecambe on Saturday. I think we could do it on Saturday, to be fair.
The thing is, I know York are 23 games unbeaten, but I've seen scenarios happen like in different leagues, like Sheffield Wednesday. They were like 20 games unbeaten, and then right at the end, they lost against a big rival, well, against rivals Barnsley. Forest Green dropped points, Bolton dropped points. There's a long way to go. You got 13 or so cup finals in there that you've got to win and got to not drop points against, because Rochdale are going to be there. They've got a game in hand, and I know Rochdale, York are top of the league, but there's a long way to go.
Yes, I think these next 4 or 5 games will decide who wins the league. Because if York keep on winning like we have, that means we'll be 30 games unbeaten, 28 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
I've not seen a team with a bigger unbeaten streak not go on and win the title in any division. So how important, in your opinion, because I know, unfortunately, your team has been relegated already, earliest relegation in EFL history, but
at least by 3 months.
By 3 months, well, the only way is up. If you haven't heard the news already, the consortium which was going to buy Sheffield Wednesday has now, unfortunately, pulled out of proceedings.
Ex-snooker player, I think.
Yes, because that must hurt the fans.
Yes, it has, massively.
It's a similar situation to even York and Forest Green at this point. Bad ownerships just leading the club into disarray.
Yeah.
Do you think you can come back into the Championship, or do you think you will just be coming down the leagues to potentially the National League in a few years?
There's been about 20 people trying to buy the club from November to about now. I didn't really think that was still going on, that deal with the ex-snooker player. But if they don't get a new owner in by the end of the season or start of in the summer, seeing as you've already got transfer embargoes as well, and you can't sign players, it could end really badly. Next season, I would probably take a mid-table finished at most. I would be happy with that. If they get relegated, it's going to be dreadful.
I mean, going back to the National League, we've got former EFL giants, really, if you think about it, like York, Morecambe, even Aldershot for a bit back in 2006. They were mere Coca-Cola Football League, as it was known back then. Of course, Rochdale.
Southend.
Do you think Southend as well? Yes. Do you think the National League should actually be considered as EFL League 3 and potentially free up occurs as well?
100%, because last season, as we saw, York finished on 96 points, which is
unheard of.
Kind of ridiculous for that league, and not to go up in that style in the playoffs is just like what are they doing? And then this season, you can see how it's shaping out to be. You've got York that are probably going to win the league, if I'm being honest, with 100 or more points. Rochdale going to finish on 100 points at least, because they're not going to give up yet. And then you're going to have Carlisle or maybe Scunthorpe up there with about 80 and 90 points, which is a little bit
unheard of.
We need the strength is there in that league. There's about 7 teams in that league where they could go up to League 2 and challenge for the top 6, and there's a lot of dead rubber teams in League 2 that need to be get relegated, really. So yeah.
I mean, you look at Harrogate as well in League 2. Simon Weaver he should really be sacked, but because his dad owns the club, he's pretty much unsackable. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the Christmas dinners would be quite awkward. Do you think parents who own a club should hire their family to work with the club?
There's like a sense of bias in there as well. Like if you do that,
Yeah,
because you can't. Well, if you want to be on a club where you're going to be wanting to invest and get a lot of money by getting promoted, and let's say if your son's not doing well, like if he's the manager, you just cannot sack them because it's just going to be really awkward because you have to like talk to them almost every day. Like, well, they're your family members, so yeah, it's just not a great boat to be in if you do that.
I mean, let's be honest. Harrogate are going to be down in National League next season.
Yeah, they
I
will be.
can't see them escaping. But talking about great escapes, Gateshead, they are looking very likely with their
Yeah.
recent form to actually avoid relegation. How big of a success story would it be if they did get safety after the season they've had, which has been, and I think Gateshead fans will agree with me, absolutely atrocious.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, last season I thought they would push on from last season because they finished about eighth, getting pushed
Playoffs.
out of the playoffs on the last day
Yes.
by Southend. But I thought they'd push on, but they've had one of the worst starts in National League. I honestly thought they might get. Well, they've got a big chance of getting relegated this season, but recently they've actually started doing well. Like, I don't know what's changed at the club, but they are pushing on. Like, I can see them getting out of it because they've definitely got the quality in that squad. They've got the quality from last season, so if they find that consistency like last season, they can definitely get out of it.
Mm. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate what has happened with Gateshead, of course, being knocked out, as you said, by Southend on the last day of the season, to now potentially being back in National League North. That fall needs to be studied because something higher up must have happened over the summer. Of course, their manager left. We've got an entirely new managerial squad. So has that actually made them push on?
From Gateshead,
Yes.
yes, okay. Well, something must have happened at the top. You've seen it with like a lot of former league teams. Morecambe, obviously, they've dropped down the divisions. They were in League
Yeah.
One like a few
2-3 years ago, I think.
2 or 3 years ago. Something's definitely happened at the top. Like money must have not been going in really for it to go right because I've not seen them make many signings really that are ambitious to be pushing for them top six places. And you've got teams like Boreham Wood, Scunthorpe coming up, Rochdale rebuilding their squad, York pushing on as well. They've really improved. They've thrown money at it, but Gateshead, I'm not really seeing them make much investment in the squad from last season and really pushing on. So it don't really surprise me that they've not pushed on really, and something must have gone on behind the scenes.
Mm.
Like there might be some financial problems there, maybe that we don't know about.
Yeah, because to be fair, to push on for a team like that, they do have to buy the stadium, and that
Mhm.
is a big financial issue. But I think the ground's owned by the council, so a bit like York, really. But York Council are actually competent and sometimes know what they're doing. Not with the roads in York. If you've ever had the misfortune to drive there,
Yeah,
um, I mean, to be fair, the best thing about Gateshead away is the road back to York, but without dissing Gateshead too much, they do deserve to be in the top half of the league, and to see them suffering like that is actually quite upsetting almost because
yeah,
they were really good last year, and now they've just fallen off quicker than I think I've seen anyone fall off.
yeah. Well, apart from Altrincham from last season, like they've had their average mid-table season. They've sacked Phil Parkinson as well, and they said they want to push for top 6, but I think that was the wrong decision to make. Really, they had a
Yeah.
bad start, but give him time. Like, he had a few good seasons with Altrincham.
I mean, going back to Altrincham, they've lost Newby to us.
Yeah.
They
had Reagan Winnie a few years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, he's now moved on. Like, they had Christopher Con-Clark as well, who was linked quite heavily with York, but unfortunately that has not happened yet. Probably will happen next year when we go up in Carlisle, cry in the National League. Anyway, thank you, Harry, for joining this video today. I will leave a link to his match day video of Halifax versus York. Halifax versus Rochdale. That's going to be Christmas bloopers, I think. Halifax versus Rochdale, the other title contenders. I will leave a link to everyone's matchday vlog because half of YouTube decided to go to Scunthorpe v York. Fusion Josh, Round the Grounds. Sam and Will, you made a good choice not going to Scunny, actually.
We had the Iron Army as well there.
Yes, of course.
A lot of YouTubers there.
Yeah, definitely
I was the only
YouTube.
vlogger I think I was the only vlogger at Halifax last night.
Really?
Yeah, there was a huge police escort from like 500 Rochdale fans from the Three Pigeons. They set off a pyro, and then they decided to hold us in the in like the
and
the
you
away
nearly
end.
got, on the train back to Lancashire.
Yeah, I got escorted with all the Rochdale fans that like were, let's just put it lightly, trying to cause trouble. I got pushed a few times. I got pushed into the train station. They tried to push me onto the train. I've said, I'm from Yorkshire. I'm from Huddersfield. I'm not even going back to Lancashire. Like, get me off this train. And I was about that close from not coming back tonight.
Again, thank
West
you
Yorkshire
very much.
Police, I'll tell you.
Oh, God, they are the Hartlepool police is the worst from previous experiences. Anyway, less slacking our police. And what game are you going to next?
I'm going to go to... there's not one this Saturday.
Morecambe. That could be a good game.
Who have York got next?
Morecambe away on Saturday.
Saturday. I've not been paid yet, like from YouTube, so I'm just trying to get by. That's why I went to Halifax the other night. Let's just see. Wednesday playing tonight. Sorry if I'm keeping you. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking probably like a League 1, League 2 team or National League.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it. I'm not sure. Maybe Huddersfield or something.
Oh, yes. Quite a good stadium, Matt. So, when my map drops, I will make sure to repost that and post on my stories for you.
Yeah. I reposted your Twitter thing as well.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah. So far. New match review coming out in about an hour when this actually does processing, but I'll post that on Twitter.
Be there to watch it.
Yep. Right, thank you again, Harry, and I will see you later.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, anytime, mate.
Cute.